everyone. Welcome to Beauty Bound with your host, Crystal Rubio. You can find me at Beauty Pro Bookkeeping on Instagram or on my website, beautyprobookkeeping.com. Today, I am here with my lovely co-host.
Hello, guys. I'm Jackie Rodman. I'm a licensed esthetician in San Antonio, Texas. I own Skinfinite, and you are watching Beauty Bound. Yeah. I'm super excited to introduce our first guest speaker this season, Pamela. Pamela owns Skin Experience by Pamela, and we are super excited to welcome you to Beauty Bound.
Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I have been wanting to come on. I know you had invited me a few months ago, and we just hadn't got our schedules on track. But I'm super happy to be here and extremely excited for today. So.
Me too. So, guys, I have known Pamela for like a year now. I met her at the premiere show.
Yes.
I was like, oh my goodness, I'm finally meeting Skin Experience by Pamela. I'm like geeking out over here. Yeah. So I was like, hi.
That was a fun show. And I met a lot of people that you just kind of like interact with on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's really fun about the trade shows or anything, any type of networking, because you feel like you've been talking to people. Like I feel like I know you, but this is literally the first time I've met you. So it was kind of like that with me too, with you too. Like, oh, it's Skinfinite, you know, and it happens all the time. Or with me, oh, it's Skin Experience, and I'm like, yeah, I'm Pam.
And so obviously you have, your spa. How long have you been in? Oh my gosh, I thought I silenced my phone. I'm so sorry.
Crystal.
I know.
I was like this, like, is it mine? Because I'm like.
And I sat here and I was like, I'm going to silence my phone. And I think I went to do it and I got distracted.
No worries.
But so how long have you been in business? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
I have been an esthetician for 20 years now. February was 20 years. I have been a solo business owner for 15 years, or I started as a solo business owner, and in the last year and a half, I actually opened up a full team salon. And so yes, 20 years in the industry. I love what I do. It's amazing. I still enjoy it every day. It's a passion of mine. I love going to work. I mean, I know some people after a while, and it happened to me too, burnout and whatnot, but at this very point, I just really still love what I do, and 20 years is a long time. I feel like, wow, it just kind of went by so fast. You don't even realize what? I'm still 21, but no, I'm 40. So
you don't look it though.
Thank you. So I started when I was 20, and I'm 40. I'll be 41 in August, and I'm like. And I still feel like I've got a lot more to give. So I'm very happy and proud of myself that I'm still in the industry that has been very, very lucrative for me, and have met so many people, and both in the industry and client-wise, made a lot of connections, a lot of networking. We're still constantly meeting people. Like I said, I just met you today, and it's a fun industry to be in, Yes. I always kind of tell new ones coming in, it's a very, it's fun. It's fun, and I love going to work every day. I remember having jobs not in the beauty industry and hated going to work every day. I've never felt that in this industry.
That's what I tell people, maybe because I also have a passion for the beauty industry.
Right.
But when you're in the beauty industry, there is no oh, I wish I had a different kind of job, or I wish I did this.
Yes.
There is never
I've
that.
I've never had, I haven't had that.
Yeah.
I think about it of different things, but within still the beauty industry.
Yeah.
I couldn't say oh, I want to go be a realtor or, accountant or something, because it's just not, I have a true passion for aesthetics, for skin, for everything beauty. I always have. I didn't realize it because I have people ask me well, how did you get into it? I said, honestly, I think I've always, even as a kid, if I truly remember, I've always been doing back in the day, Clean and Clear, and yes, the St. Ives mask, and things like that, but I must have been 6th, 7th grade, and my mom would, sometimes we couldn't afford things, so she would create little masks for me with like yogurt and like avocado and like strawberries and stuff, honey.
Yeah.
And I clearly remember that. And I always, the first time I went into Dillard's for the first time in my life, I remember being like probably second or third grade and looking at the girls in the beauty counter. I always said, I just want to do that, you know? Like I never dreamt of being like a teacher or a nurse or anything like that. I just wanted to work for Dillard's.
Yeah.
Then I turned 18 and I had the opportunity to go work at the makeup counter. I was like, I don't think that I want to do this. I want to do something more, you know? So that's how I got into this. Like,
well, yeah, because I think when you're at the makeup counter, it's either just the makeup.
Yes.
And unless you're working for like Clinique, then it's more of that skincare.
Yes.
But even then, it's still just like a very basic.
Yes. And that's what I didn't realize. Like when I got hired, I was like, it's only makeup, which I loved. I got originally into this industry thinking that I was just going to be a makeup artist. I've always been really good at makeup and, you know, whatnot. And I didn't realize esthetician was a career or like anything. My mom had never taken me to like a esthetician or any facial. I didn't even know what a facial was. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And at 18, when I graduated high school, I was a young mom. I was a teen mom. So I went directly into one of the, you know, career point schools and I went into medical billing, which was nothing that I wanted to do, you know.
Why is it that every person, mostly that I know who is in the beauty industry, their first step is either medical billing or medical assistant?
Yes.
I was a medical assistant before I went into beauty school.
And I said the same thing. I don't want to draw blood. I don't want to do that, but I'll work like the front desk. And I hated it.
Oh yeah.
Hated it.
See, and I wanted to draw blood. I didn't want to be front desk.
Yes. And it was just that time period, because I only did it for about 2 years maybe. I was like, I got to do something. Like, I cannot do this for the rest of my life. You know, like, this is crazy work. Like, people calling and upset with the front desk because they didn't get their meds or pain meds or whatever. I didn't know anything about insurances and coding and malpractice and like,
oh my gosh,
you know, like things like stuff was going on. And I was only 18. I didn't really know much. So those were my first years experiencing like anxiety and like things like I had never even heard of like, why am I feeling like I'm having a heart attack, you know? So I started feeling very much like I needed to do something.
Wait, and at that time, did you ever think, right now that you said that, because I had also never heard of anxiety, right?
Yeah.
It was just like, I have a bad feeling, like something bad's going to happen.
Yes.
And that was it. And then I would start crying because I'm like, maybe something's gonna happen to my mom.
Yes.
And it wasn't even
a panic.
It was a fucking anxiety attack.
And working with the doctors, I remember one of the front desk ladies, and this is what kind of got me like, what? Like, what is this? And I always worked with older ladies. I was only 18, which also is very bad because they are like thinking I'm coming to take their jobs and the positions. And so I said, I don't feel good. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. Like, what is this? And she said, well, go see the doctor real quick. And he's like, oh, sweetheart, here. You just need some Lexapro. I was like, what's Lexapro?
Some meds.
I was like, okay.
Like, can you tell me what's wrong with me?
Yes. And so that's when very early on in my life, I learned about like mental health and everything and what Lexapro, like what all those things are. But I was a young mom. I had a 1-year-old, 2-year-old. I couldn't be on those things. I was like a zombie. So I said, I got to get out of here. And so that's when you really have to like sit down and say like, well, what am I good at? I didn't go to college.
It's like, what do you want in life? Like what are your goals?
And for me, it was more like being a Hispanic, like raised in a Hispanic household, like we were raised to be moms and homemakers and you know, like not really, none of like school stuff was not like embedded into me. So I would, in my mind, college was just not an option, you know? So that's why I went to a trade school right away just to be able to survive with my kid. But I really remember, and back then that's like the dial up, right? I'm in my parents' computer and I'm like, what am I good at? You know, like, what do I like? What are my hobbies? And literally the only thing I liked to do was like makeup, my hair. Like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? You know, like, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
And so I remember putting it in, I'm not sure if it was Google, but I remember search bar, which probably Google.
Yeah.
And it was like 05, 04.
Oh, yeah, it was Google. Because we're older than Google.
But it was like,
we're older than Google.
Like,
you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm laughing at you. I'm like,
I'm older.
And it literally was like a dial-up. Like you had to wait.
AOL.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I'm AOL.
And it took forever to get my answer back. Like, okay, like interest, and I put
and then it starts
makeup.
to load. Like
yes, like so slowly.
Slow. Oh my god.
So when
I remember that. Like the
yeah.
So when I put that in, it said makeup artist. And I said, what's a makeup artist? And I'm like, okay, like bridal makeup, Hollywood makeup. In my mind, I was going to move to Hollywood with my kids. And I was just going to do makeup in Hollywood, right? So I said, well, what? And I remember, I can't remember who pulled up, but it was somebody out in Hollywood. And she said, it said LE or licensed esthetician / makeup artist. I'm like, what's an esthetician? So there I go again with Google, esthetician. And then it's like, all the things. And I'm like, oh, skin? Like, what do you mean? And then I went into like this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, the next day I was calling the beauty schools in town. My beauty school doesn't even exist anymore. Yeah. It's been since shut down. I think it became UCAS or something. But at that time, it was San Antonio Beauty College on Parambital or Nacoparan or somewhere. I don't know. And I went, and you know how they get you right away, just like any trade school. Oh, you can start next week. We have a new course coming up. And, oh, yes, financial aid, you got approved, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, done. I'm going to be an esthetician. Like, I didn't even think, it had been 24 hours. Like, I just researched one day, and then the next day I'm in school, And I was like, so I got to quit my job. Like, what am I doing? My parents are like, guess an esthetician, and what is that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to do makeup. I don't know. And so, it was very, as we all know, beauty schools are not where you go to learn, right? Anything in the aesthetics field, right? We kind of just have to wing it after school. But that's kind of where I started. I did my aesthetics program, and I happened to just fall in love more with skincare. And I'm like, I already know all these things. I have been doing these things. Like, I already know about a cleanser and a mask and a toner. And I just kind of came very like second nature. Yes, it clicked. And I was like, I felt so smart because I know like skin anatomy now and like skin diseases and learning like all the ingredients. And like, I finally felt in my life like I was like, being a teen mom, you have a lot of like, self-esteem, like you're put down a lot because you're a teen mom. And so I felt like I didn't go to school, I didn't go to college, like what am I going to do, And so when that became like, oh, I feel like I'm a dermatologist, like, I could do it all. So
yes.
But and right after school, I got hired right away with one of the at that time, very renowned #1 day spa, European day spa here in town. And I became really good really fast. Yeah. So I remember the first day, I never had heard of a Brazilian wax right up until school. And in school, no one wanted to really wax, because no one wants to show their goods to your
we were forced.
We were not.
Because I think it was very different back then too.
Yes,
like because that's like 2005.
At this point, 5. Yes.
Yeah. So back then, like none of the people. I mean, anal bleaching. That was unheard of. And if somebody did it, Brazilians, it's not that it was unheard of. I think it was, but it was like more of people getting bikini waxes. Yes. It wasn't a full-on Brazilian. No, that was not a thing.
It was a French bikini is what we were taught. And so, which is just a bikini, a bikini wax. And our teacher was so afraid of female body parts that she was like, check, you already did it, wax, check. And this is super out there, but and maybe now I'll find some of my SD friends, but I went to school with like 7 strippers. So
way.
I learned, I was 20 years old, and I learned a lot, anal bleaching and all the things of like,
because they did all
things. Yes. So they were in their early 30s trying to kind of get out of the game. And I always called them like my fairy godmothers because I was young. This was all new to me. I learned about a lot of things, like a lot of like Botox. That's the first time I heard about Botox. I had never heard about like lip fillers. I had never heard of like, like.
And they did it all back then.
They did it all back then. And
wait, is this school or your job?
School.
This is at school. Yes. Oh, so in school, I went.
Strippers. Strippers decided to leave that life behind.
And I think back then there was not a lot of schools either. I think we were probably one of the only ones. I'm not sure if like Aveda was still or was open. I don't remember.
I don't think they were. I think Aveda's pretty new.
Yes, I think Paul Mitchell, Ogle, none of those existed. My school doesn't even exist anymore. So I think we were the only ones. So it was a big class. And I remember just learning a lot from them.
Yeah.
Our teacher was a Cosmo. So she wasn't really an esthetician.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't really learn a lot from them. And it was the My Lady book. And it's do the work. But I learned from them. I learned all the things. And I just loved all of it. Like, I was like, what? Botox? Yes, I want that. And lip fillers? What do you mean? And some of them had, you know, little like plastic surgeon, doctor friends and whatnot. And so I would just learn so much from them.
They were like, I'll give you a free lap dance and we could do some
I
fillers
know.
on it.
I'm like, I did not ask any questions. I just remember.
Why not?
I'm like, my mind was just blown with all the things. So by the time I did go work at the European Day Spa, of course, more classy in a nicer area of town, and then I learned more, you know. So at this point, we had not done Brazilian waxing at school, right? So my teacher was like, "No, I don't want to see any of y'all." Yada, yada. And of course, the girls that we were in school with, they didn't, even though they showed it on stage, they didn't want to show it at school. Weird, right?
What?
But I know.
Like, I'm not getting paid for this.
Yes, I know. So by the time I got hired, I remember I got hired on. When can you start? Can you start tomorrow? I was like, oh, okay, sure. So things just like fell into place for me really quickly, really fast. And so I remember showing up to work and she said, okay, so we put up a Brazilian wax special for you. You have 15 clients today, half off. 15 clients. And I was like, oh, okay. I've never done one. They're like, oh, sweetheart, you'll learn. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
So the owner was kind of like throw you to the sharks type of thing. The manager, who I still to this day remember, was always so motherly. And she was an esthetician herself. So she was like more like soothing, like, you're going to be fine. After your fifth one, you're going to be fine. I'm like, I've never done it. So literally right on my arm, she's like, this is how you're going to apply. This is how you're going to remove, which I knew that from school. Like, but this is now hard wax, which we did not use in school. We used strip wax.
Strip wax.
Okay.
So I had never worked with the hard wax. And so I remember, oh my gosh, my first one. I remember this day so clearly. But I will tell you guys, out of those 15 clients, if some of them have moved or not, I probably to this day have about 12 to 13
No
of them.
way.
And
No way.
They knew it was my first day because they're 50% off because they knew they were coming in for models, right? And at that time, I think Brazilians were like $60 with her. So $30 Brazilian wax, why not? So I'm shaking, right? But I learned really quickly, really,
like,
yes.
Let me hold your vagina down.
Yes, and I learned how to maintain my cool from day one of my career because even though I wanted to like sweat, these were women that were like when I pulled up to the spa, it was like Range Rovers and Escalades and like Porsches and like I just was like, I cannot F this up. You know, like I gotta be great. I have 2 babies at home. Like I gotta feed my kids. I'm a single mom. I'm 21. This is my career. This is what I chose. This is not makeup artistry, but I'm going to learn. And I had never seen any other females lady bits. Me and my girlfriends in high school, it wasn't that cool to be like out and exposed back then, you know? I'm from the early 2000s, you know?
Yeah,
like
things
and
have
it was
changed a lot.
not a thing to be like, oh, can you pass me my thong real quick while we change in front of each other? No, I had never seen nobody's lady bits but my 2 babies.
Yeah.
So when I'm seeing a grown woman's lady bits, I'm like, the first initial like shock of like, because everyone's hair is like
different.
This one definitely had not been in a while, and Again, I've always been into beauty, so I remember, like, I've been shaving since, like, 7th grade. I don't even think I ever let my actual hair grow out for me to see it that way. And I had never seen that much. And I was like, God, what am I going to do? I winged it. I just did what I thought, and I applied, and I remember just sweating everywhere. But I'm not I don't sweat at all. I don't even sweat at the gym. So I remember, like, everything was sweaty. But whatever I did, and all of them just were so like, so what do you do? And where like, just kind of like getting me going. Like they wanted to get to know me. And I understood that day when I went home, like my brain was so fried. My energy was so, but I had this adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like I just, what?
15
yes.
vaginas.
Yes, it was
Oh
crazy.
my
And you
God.
had to be done in 30 minutes. They didn't even give me like the 45-minute start off. So 30 minutes to like
For your first one? Ooh.
for my first, all of them that day. So I was like, what the hell? I worked from 9 to 8 p.m. that day, I remember. I think it was like a test, maybe like, let's see if she
could do it.
And
Oh
I
my
did it.
God.
And she wasn't wrong. By the 5th one, I was like, I got this.
Oh my gosh.
And just talking to them. So what I learned from day one to what I do now, 20 years later, is personality.
Yeah.
You know, you
Oh,
have
that
to
a
be
lot.
personable.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have, I must have poised myself well enough then as a young mom, as, you know, still probably living a little ratchet life. I
Yeah.
still probably like, you know, I changed my whole customer service voice. Like I've changed a lot from then to now. I was a young mom, you
Yeah.
know, and I was still doing all the things and whatnot. And so my life was not the best back then. It still isn't now, but something about me interested my clients, and it kept them for this long, you know. And so
Wow.
they rebooked.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that they I hurt some of them. I'm pretty sure some of them were bruised. You know, because you don't know like
the pressure.
After every client, I'd come out and I'd be like, her name was Ginger. I don't know if she'll watch this, but I love her. I still think about her all the time. She was a great mentor, and I'm like, Ginger, like, what do I do when it's like so much like layers? And she's like, you just pull to the side, you put on the wax, you pull to the other side, you put on the wax. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And so like after every client, you know, everyone was different, you know? And so shapes, sizes, everything. And I got through the day. And I just, after that.
And they still came back.
The next day, put me like 10 Brazilians. And the next day, and so Brazilians became my bread and butter. And I got really quick, really fast. So facials just kind of became like they were second nature. I loved it. I loved a facial. I mean, I was awesome. I wanted to do like all the things. I mean, I just loved what I did. I loved going to work. So I was there for almost 5 years.
Wow.
And me and my friend Mary were like the biggest like client holders, right?
Yeah.
We were booked back to back every day. There was not one day that we were not booked back to back.
But I think what a lot of new SDs, and not just SDs, but a lot of new cosmetologists and estheticians don't understand, and nail artists, is that once you're fresh out of school, you can't just plan to go solo right away. Yes, you can sometimes. And I mean, I went solo right away. I didn't work for anybody. But given the chance to go back and change that, I probably would.
Yeah.
And I would have probably started assisting someone before I went on my own.
So,
But
yeah.
now you or worked for someone, you know?
Right.
But I went straight to open my own salon.
Did you? You never worked, you said you went kind of solo
Yeah,
right away.
I went solo right away. I should have.
I kind of wish that I would have, because working for the employer that I was with, there was a lot of females, first of all, you know, so it gets catty. And I was there for a long time. For me, it was more, at that time, I was getting paid hourly. I went in probably, I don't know if I should even say it, but back then it was $10 an hour, and I thought I was making a lot of money.
Because back then it was good.
Yes,
You know?
plus tips, right?
Yeah.
Which sometimes the tips would be like, a little questionable, you know? Like I made this, let's say that every paycheck for almost 5 years, because I didn't make it to the 5-year mark. I kind of left like at 4.5. Tips, my checks maintained the same. Like they were either like $40 above or $40 under.
Okay.
And I would be like, you know, sometimes clients would be like, hey, Pam, I left you a birthday bonus. Did you get it? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, my check was the same. Hey, Pam, you know, for Christmas, I left you some money for the kids and, you know, yourself. And I'd be like, So after years went by, I kind of was like, you don't want to believe that that's happening, you know, but then you're like, I remember
illegal.
I mean,
that's
and I can't
awful.
prove it. So I don't know, you know, and it was kind of like a talk between between like the SDs, and then they would kind of clean, or everyone, because it was SDs, nails, and massage, the whole thing. And so at that time, we all kind of were talking about the same thing. A lot of people left. I remember at that time, another business opened up. Can I even say names of this? Okay. Yeah. So at that time, Bruce Bowen's wife had opened up a beautiful spa just down the street. So all my friends, who are all my best friends to this day, by the way, I'm glad that I worked there because I met my best friends who are still now my best friends, and they all left. So I was on my way to my interview. I remember they all went to interview. They got hired on the spot. They said bye, and they all left, right? So I was on my way to my interview that day, and she caught me at the door and basically like said, if you leave, we're going to come after you. And I knew that
after you, how?
I was in my 20s. I was very scared, I was one of the ones that was the busiest, me and my other friend, like I said. And so pretty much like threatened me not to leave. So I didn't leave. So I stayed another 2 years, too long, And so at the end, what happened is that somebody else got hired on. At that point now, 4.5 years later, I am at $12 an hour. So from $10 to $12, in 4.5 years, I had gone 2 raises for $1. And somebody came in, newbie out of school, and I happened to hear, or maybe I asked her, I don't remember. Maybe I was mean about it, but I was like, we have a team leader now, and it's this person. And I was like, we've never had a team leader of anything. Me or my friend, should be a team leader because we've been here the longest. But no. And then she says, I hear her, or I ask her, I don't know. She's getting paid $15, $16 an hour out of school. What? And I said, so I just felt like, what the, And so that day I remember I went home. It was a Saturday. It was a busy Saturday. I felt so defeated. So like, what the heck am I going to do? So I wrote her a long email. Now back to freaking writing those long emails. And I sent it to her, letting her know how I felt. And basically she just responded with like, I'm sorry you feel that way, period.
What?
So
oh my gosh.
That was kind of like for me, like, damn, like she didn't even, like I work my butt off. I've missed my kids' things sometimes. I've come sick. I appreciate working for her back then. Yeah. It showed me how to work like a dog, pretty much, like a bunny, like Energizer bunny. I made the bestest friends that I still have now. I learned what I wanted to do in business, what I didn't want to do, or what employer I wanted to be like and what employer I did not want to be like in the future. I never actually even planned to be in this very spot that I am now. Never did, I think. And so I kind of learned a lot. So I'm glad that I did it. I don't regret it, but I really wish I would have gone out on my own right away. I do. I really do. I feel like I was very used.
Yeah.
I was not appreciated, obviously.
Yeah.
And but I met a lot of people along the ways and whatnot, So I remember like, I'm done. But you can't be done. I don't have another job and I'm a single mom still, And so I'm like, how am I going to pay my bills? What am I going to do? So I remember my girlfriend had also just left on her own. And I was like, hey, how did you even talk to her and say, she's like, I just told her I'm going out on my own. And I said, you did? And she's like, I'm not taking any clients. I'm going to start it from the bottom. And I said, you are? And I said, she's like, yeah. And so she had already been on her own, like maybe a couple months, 2 or 3 months. And she says, yeah, come check out my suite. Well, I didn't even know those type of things existed, like the suites, Mm-hmm. So I remember going, I was like, oh my gosh. And so going in, seeing nails and an esthetician and she did nails at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh. And how does this work? And she's like, well, you pay $250 a week. $250. I said, Shirley, I can't do that. How would I do that? That's like $1,000 a month. Like my rent at home is $800. Like how would I do it? Yeah. She's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm just doing it, and she made it seem so easy. Yeah. So I remember at the time, I love her. I hope she sees this, but I have a really good client. She now lives in Europe. She still comes in every 3 months. She comes in, visits her family. She still comes in to see me. Kelly, she has been like, she swears she's not, but I always call her like my fairy godmother. She's always been very, very wise, very smart, I've learned so much from her. Yeah. She's been to a lot of my family events. I've been to hers, a lot of stuff. But back then she says, she's from New York and she's a little vulgar, but she just says a lot of bad words. But she basically pushed me. She said, you know, you need to go out on your own. You just need to do this, whatever. And I said, okay. So I remember telling my parents and my dad was like, you don't have another job. You can't, what are you going to do? You know? And I said, well, I'm going to go out on my own. Why? Why would you do that? You have a job already. And I said, I know, but I don't have a job now. Like I pretty much quit Saturday and it's now like Monday. Yeah. So he said, I remember he said, I didn't have anything. So he said, I'm going to let you borrow some money. I remember $400. You need to pay me back in 3 months. And I said, okay. To me, that was a lot.
Well, yeah.
Right? Like it was like,
too,
yes.
Like it's a lot.
But I knew that having that over me, I was going to work my butt off. So sure enough, I took his $400. I found, I went to Sally's, bought a wax pot. I just started getting all my stuff that day. I put my deposit down with the suite. And again, everything just rolling so quick. Like, oh yeah, we have a suite available. Oh yeah. You can start this week, 2 weeks free or month free or whatever. I don't remember what it was. It was right after Thanksgiving.
Wait, what suites were there back then?
So now they're called Salon Plaza. Back then they were called LR Salons. They're right next to Magnolia Pancake House at Embassy. Okay. I don't know if you know where that's at. Embassy Oaks, like right by the Santicos. And so back then it was, again, everyone was so friendly. She was just like, yes, you know, we'll help you, whatever. Yes. Okay, cool. I found a warehouse in town, Asian warehouse in town where I got my bed, my stool, steamer, all the things, like all in one day. I have no job, so I have to. And then, mind you, I left with, back then, I didn't have access to anybody's contacts. I didn't have anybody but that one client. Only because we had become, you know, Facebook had just popped up. This is Thanksgiving 2010. So I don't know when Facebook happened. I think 2010 around that time.
Actually, Facebook started because I got it right when it started in 2004.
Oh, but that was a college one. You had to have a college email for that.
No, because it was MySpace, and then from MySpace, I remember everyone had MySpace. Hardly anybody had Facebook, and I used to have Facebook.
Did you?
Because I knew that was when my husband was in Iraq, and so I had it back then. So it pisses me off that on my Facebook, it doesn't show that I've had it since then. Because I'm like, what the heck? Like, I've been on Facebook since it came out. Yeah.
So I remember... I mean, to me, I feel like it had just popped up.
But
I feel like it had just
got popular.
2008, 2009. That's when it, like, by 2010, it was, everybody knew about it.
And so I was pretty much starting from zero, you know. So I didn't really have a large friend group. My friends were working over at Yardley's at that time. And so they weren't I didn't have a friend group where I could start from, but I had just a couple, like my friend Shirley who did nails, and then my client Kelly, who I told her, I said, okay, well, I'm doing this. I start tomorrow. I'm going to go set up. My brother was here from the Navy at that time. He helped me paint. Why I did this, I remember this like a core memory. I just wanted glitter walls, right? Because glitter was like, whoa, right? We painted the freaking walls glitter. It looked like absolute. So,
oh my gosh.
Me and my brother are both Virgos. So he's like, you're not starting tomorrow. He's like, we're going to stay here all night and we're going to repaint again. So we repainted a solid color. And so, yes, I started like Wednesday. So I remember she said, well, I'm going to send you my friend so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. Okay, cool. That's why when I teach now my master classes to students, I always tell them, you only need 3 clients. From 3 comes 5, from 5 comes 10, from 10 comes 20.
Yes.
My friend Shirley, hey, Pam, can you get in my client for a Brazilian wax? Hey. And then once they're there, I just have always had like that, like, oh, your skin's so pretty. What do you do? Well, let me tell you, I have this facial.
The
and
customer
blah, blah, blah.
service.
Yes. My facials back then were $50.
No way.
$50. And my Brazilian waxing
I'm like, where can you even?
$45. My brows, $15. 50 and brow lip combo, $20.
How much do you charge for brows now?
So I don't do brows anymore now.
No way.
But when I let it go,
you're like, fuck
I know.
That shit.
Yes. So I don't do any waxing anymore. I retired it about 4 years ago when my daughter became an esthetician, and I burnt out. You know, I had been waxing buttholes for 15 years. I've had enough, you know? So I kind of like there you go, babe. Like there's
Yeah.
here's your
client
clients.
list.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I charged $20.
How lucky is she to be able?
Yes.
And I think a lot of people don't see that.
I'm sure she doesn't either.
Yeah,
She's just
really,
like, oh,
yeah.
you know,
and what
I
they
could
don't
just have all these clients.
No, and this is what people don't understand. If you have a family member in the industry, or if you're your mom is in the industry, however it is, those family members do not understand all that hard work that goes into building your business.
No.
And that they're so lucky to have you.
Yes.
Because you already know, like, this is what I tell my daughter wants to be an esthetician.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have two older daughters, and then the boys are my younger. But one of my daughters, she wants to be an esthetician. Mm-hmm. So what I told her, I said, look, you're so lucky that you have me as a mom. Yep. I said, because if you're going to go to beauty school, it's not just to be an esthetician.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to go to beauty school to be a cosmetologist. Mm-hmm. I said, because no matter what you learn in there, you're going to learn hair, nails, and skin.
Yep.
And out of those three, you choose what you're going to love the most.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then you go and you take the classes. You go and you do all the things. I
said, see where your niche is going to be. Yeah, for sure.
I said, because you can't just do that. I said, not only that, you're lucky because I'm not going to send you to go freaking work for somebody. I said, because you're going to start your own business.
But this is what happened with mine, and might happen with yours. So when she got out of school, she went into Ogle. I, at the time, had now, years later, came back to where I started. So I started at Alar Salons back then at the Embassy Suites. Now, years later, I came back as a solo esthetician. Now it's called Salon Plaza. And so there was a suite next to me. And so when Layla graduated, I said, hey, I got you the suite. I'm going to build you clientele and let's do this, And she's like, oh, okay. And I said, what do you mean, oh, okay? She's like, well, I just kind of thought I was going to do my own thing. And I said, why would you think that? Like, that's really hard. And she's like, I set up the whole suite for her. A few months went by and she's just like, nope, I really think I just want to go out on my own. And I was like, are you serious? And she sure did. She said, I don't want to. Awesome. I don't want to be under you.
That's awesome.
Yes, but also lessons in the business because she was only 18, 19, I think. Mm-hmm. She thought, oh, this is mom does it, but she didn't know all this.
And that's what I'm saying. That's good though, because at the same time, and I see that too because I know that if I try to just hand everything,
yes.
She's never going to learn how hard it is to build
That's why I let her. Yeah. That's why I let her because she did. She lasted about a year and a half. She's like, Mom, this is really hard. And I'm like, it is. I make it maybe seem like it's easy, but it's not, babe. Yeah. It's really not. And so she came back to work with me. So we shut down her suite. We started working back again just a couple years ago. And so I guess you could say, like, I don't want to say I served it on a silver platter for her, but I helped her,
Yeah.
So I feel like, but it was time for me too.
Yeah.
So again,
to move on to something bigger.
But my clients, I'm waxing them for 15 years now. It was not easy.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm not going to let Layla wax my, but I've known her since she was a kid. Like I can't.
How is she gonna see
Yes. So it was really hard. Again, to the last one, Kelly, who she's like, I am not gonna let Layla see her. I will not. Finally, after months she's been here, put me an appointment with Layla. Fine. So it was not a good, easy transition, So now they love her. Now they tell me, oh, Pam, I actually think Layla's like better than you. I'm like, that's good to know. That's good to hear, But yeah, so I went out on my own and again, I built my clientele with my friend Shirley who sent me her nail clients and then my friend Kelly who sent me clients and then I just built from there. Referrals at that time because it's the business card time.
Yeah.
It wasn't like word of mouth is golden, like it's still the golden rule for me because I started without social media, how it's so easy now. It wasn't easy then. I was going to dentist office, dropping off. I would go to H-E-B, buy their brownies, and then I would repackage them up with a little ribbon. I would put my business cards. I go drop them off like at Amex or Fred Loya or dentist offices. I would literally run around all on Mondays just building clientele. And then little by little, my clients from my prior place, they started kind of like looking for me and finding me on Facebook. And hey, Pam, they told me you moved to San Angelo, and I'm like, what? Like, yes, crazy. So,
oh my gosh,
little by little, I didn't get all of them back, but I got a little bit. And hey, once you get those nurses, the realtors, and the teachers, it's game over. Yeah. It's like, you're done. You know what I mean? Like the nurses will tell their coworkers, the teachers will tell their coworkers, and the realtors, same thing.
And that's what matters, you know, because a lot of people think, yes, social media might be easier.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
But in reality, it's not.
Yes.
Because as a consumer, you might think, oh man, like as far as hair goes, you know, oh, that hair looks really pretty.
Yeah.
But how many fucking filters does it have in it?
Right.
You know, you don't know. You don't know any of that, or you don't know that if you lift up the hair, there is maybe spots in there, or that, you know, whatever the case might be.
Right.
Skincare. You don't know if they added a filter to that.
Exactly.
You don't know any of that. So yes, social media might be easier, but at the same time, they don't know your personality. They don't know exactly what kind of mouth you have.
Exactly.
They don't know. I mean, for me, I've always said it. I am who I am behind, you know, behind the cameras and in person.
Right.
But I think for a picture doesn't say much, you know?
Yes.
But if you have word of mouth, or if somebody comes to me and tells me, dude, I got my lashes done by so-and-so, you should definitely, that's who I'm going to go to.
Yes.
Not because of the picture that I see on social media.
Right.
Somebody could show me like, I don't know, whatever freaking picture of something, and I'm just going to be like, girl.
Like, whatever.
A lot of the reason why I don't use filters, like, I maybe used them when Snapchat came around like years ago, the little puppy filter or whatever. I don't know, that was pre-COVID or post-COVID.
I use filters when I have no makeup on.
Sometimes I do, like if it's been a long day, but like with my you know, with my stuff, because being in this industry, when I see, again, like when we've met, you know, I just told you, when I see other estheticians and like, I'm like shocked because I'm like, oh,
your skin.
Like, wow. Oh, like,
I'm like, what kind of shocked are you? Like, oh,
because then I'm like, well, you're selling something that's not real, you know? And sometimes I feel like, do I look like that?
And that's where I'm going to tell. And I'll tell you guys, like, however her skin looks on camera, that's how her skin looks in real life. And even with her makeup, I was just telling Jackie right now that we were in the bathroom, I said, oh my gosh, I said, I could see my freaking lines of my foundation cracking, you know?
And so people say
and your face looks flawless.
And so, but then I think, like, do people think that, like, that I'm fake also on
what
social?
I will say,
you look like you're a walking filter.
You do. You look like you've hired someone to somehow
because I swear. So her skin. I was complaining about my makeup right now, and I was actually gonna ask. I'm like, okay, what foundation do you use? Because I'm older. I mean, I'm older than you, but I am. But your skin looks extremely younger than mine.
So yes, so my clients will always be like, Pam, you're so beautiful, your skin, da da da. But those are clients, right? My actual kids and my family, oh, Mom, I could see your lines through that. My kid
our kids are the worst critics.
My son Sam, he's 10, and we're brushing our teeth, and I'm brushing my teeth. He's right here, and he's looking straight at me. He's like, are those pores? And I said, where, Sam? And he's like all right there. You have really large pores. And I'm like, really?
So I'm like, too well.
Yes. So he's like,
my
and I'm
gosh.
like noticeable. He's like, yeah, Mom, they're really large. And I was like, what? The heck? 10. But again, and my daughters will be like, Mom, your line's right here, like. Or like if I FaceTime them, they'll be like, "Ooh, Mom," and I'm like, "So I believe them." You know what I mean?
Do not believe them.
Clients will obviously be like, "Pam, you look so cute today."
Well,
like,
I'm honest. I'm always honest, and maybe too much sometimes. But no, you really. And I'm telling you, I just saw myself in the mirror right now, and I got a paper towel during our break. And
she was like,
because I like, and because I smile, and you could see my freaking foundation card, and I was like, what the fuck? Like,
but going back to 20 years ago, I've always been that girl. Like I never went to high school. How girls go to high school now?
No,
there's no way you would have ever caught me in like chanclas and or like warm ups or like fuzzy those pants. Those like you know. Never. I'm telling you, as far as I can remember, I mean, I'm telling you, like 5th grade, I wanted to wear like red lip gloss to school. And my mom was like, absolutely not. Like Selena died and I just wanted to be like Selena makeup. And then she was like, you're not going to school like that. And I remember all the little things she would get from Estee Lauder or the Lancomes. Like she would give me the little bags. So I've always loved it. So I don't see myself as like what probably other people see, you know? And so because I've always been like that. I can do my eyebrows while I'm driving. I could do my lip. Like, I mean, this was a 45-minute like hair change, makeup, let's go. And I just did it right now. I finished my nails at 10:20, and I told Clara I gotta go change because I gotta go. I left work at 10:52, and I said I'll be there at 11:04. So it was a quick. I was in pajamas this morning. Quick change because I've done it for so long.
Wow.
You know,
it comes easy.
So when people, I have always been my own marketing material. So what I will go back to is like when I see estheticians or people in the industry. Hair, nails, lashes, all the things, right? I know we're in the era of like super comfy, right?
But still look cute.
But we're still in the beauty industry,
make
you
it
know?
look cute.
So yes, I agree with that.
When I've gone and met people and I'm like, oh my God, like she uses like I love when you post like at night, like I love to watch like your
routines,
like
right?
your routine because you're posting like this is why I don't do my eyebrows are disgusting, you guys. So a lot of people are like, Pam, show us like what your get readies with me are. I have about 20 different microblades, permanent makeups, everything. I'm lasering them right now. But underneath, with no makeup on, like with no eyebrows on, I mean, makeup, my skin's great. Yes, whatever, because I've taken care of it for forever. But that's why I don't do get readies with me. So I love to watch like when you're doing yours or like when Anne's doing hers. Like I love to watch that because I know that I've seen you, I've met you, and her skin does look flawless, you know?
Coming from this woman, oh my God.
No, and that's one thing.
But then I've met other people where it's like, oh, damn, like if she's using filters on herself, then I know she's using filters on her clients.
For me,
that's
you know?
a big thing.
My skin used to look flawless when I was getting, you know.
When she was consistent.
Yes.
Oh, you gotta be consistent, girl.
But then like life got busy and then she got moved freaking her studio so far now from where I live. And I just finally got in after a few months of not getting anything.
And I'll be honest, like I don't get for me to tell you, when was the last time I got a facial where I laid down and somebody touched my skin? I couldn't even tell you. It's been a long time. But I work with my kid, so she could, but we just never get the time. You know, I'm working back to back.
Wait, but do you use a glacial on your? Sorry.
Oh yes,
I keep on interrupting.
I do all the things, but
I'm so sorry.
but I do it myself really quickly. You know, so like hydrofacial. Let me do that real quick. Oh, I got it. Like I don't have like right now. I need a facial so bad because my dermaplane. I could feel it. My makeup's. Y'all think my makeup looks good, but again, we're our own like critics, right? And I'm like, it's not like how I want it to be because I need a dermaplane. So I do my own things, you know, but I haven't laid down. And I always tell you and I think I'm going to come in for a facial. But it never happens because we're always so busy.
We're so busy.
You know, we tried getting you in, right? Like for 2 weeks now. And it's like, that doesn't work for me. And I'm like, well, that one doesn't work for me.
But we're going to look at the schedule this week because we are open for 4th of July week.
Yes.
So I can definitely relate to this when I go to my SD networking events and all that shit. Over the past couple of years, sometimes I look and I'm like, nice to meet you. But obviously I am looking and analyzing. I'm like, nice to meet
You're like, nice to meet your real skin.
Your real
and
skin.
Yes. And that I feel like, so another thing, like with me, it's like a lot of people sometimes ask me, you know, hey, do you have any before and afters? My facials are results oriented. No one is gonna come out looking with glass skin no, mine, you're puffy, you're inflamed, you're pink. I do so much. My afters, you look crazy. You look like you need to go straight home because I do so much. I do a lot of extractions. I mean, I'm meticulous. Like that's why people have stayed with me for almost 20 years now because I do all the things. And so I don't have before and afters on anything because no one looks flawless,
Good, yeah.
you know? And no one wants a picture like that of themselves out there.
Yes.
They're red, they're blotchy. I do microderm everywhere, so they're red here, they're, you know, so I don't. And that's for that reason, because I don't. So I don't, and I don't want to filter it either, because then I feel like when I meet other professionals in our industry, and then I'm like, sometimes I have not recognized them. So people have come up to me and, you know, just like that, and I'm just like, and she's like, oh, I've been following you, and I was like, oh, well, what is your handle? I want to make sure I'm following you, and I was like, oh, I do follow you. I was like, oh,
bitch,
you know,
And we don't mean to like pick apart, you know, where you're at in your skin journey.
It's
no
not
offense,
that. It's not that. I feel like be true to
you should
being
be
authentic to your brand and to skin. If we're in the industry of skin or even hair or whatever, you know, I feel like filters are great. They're fun. Use them. Sure. You know, for funsies, sometimes at the end of the day, I'm already like, you know, my lipstick's already off, like steam all day on my face, like my eyebrows are probably down to my neck. So I will put a little filter on, you know, or whatever. That's fine. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm
just
saying
don't use
like
them on your clients to show.
overly using them with all of your reels, with all of your before and afters, with all of. I think that's just not like it's not realistic.
False advertising.
It is false advertising.
It is.
To me, it is. So I feel like I don't use them as much on. I don't use them at all with my stuff, but I do. I'm not against it. I'm just saying like keep it real, you know.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
and a lot of the younger generation of esties, it's the filter world. Like they don't know. They don't know that they're not from our time. Well, you're still young.
They don't know how to step away from the filters.
Yes.
They don't know how to actually work hard sometimes.
Be professional.
Be professional
for sure.
They don't understand that mouthing people is not a cute look. They don't understand that going out and thinking that something's easy is, you know,
I'm literally learning that as we speak.
So tell us about making the shift from having you and your daughter to having a spa like team.
So it started with, you know, just me and Layla coming back to, you know, and I didn't have space for her. So I built her a room within the room I was in. We were going to wing it. I started like you work the morning, I work the afternoon and whatnot. Okay. We did that for maybe 3 months. Our AC breaks in our old location. They want me to fix it. And yes, and I'm like, yes, and I'm like, well, do I take the industrial AC with me when I leave this place, because my lease is up in a month? This was the coldest winter, so not this year, but last January, we had the snow or whatever. It was icy, it was cold, so our AC broke around Christmas time. So they wanted me to pretty much fix it, and I wasn't going to because I only had 1 month left. So I freaking put space heaters everywhere. My clients were freezing, but they held it down with me because that's what loyal clients do.
Yeah.
Oh,
and Layla and I were just so frozen. So I said, babe, we got to do something. I'm not going to fix this AC. It's $17,000. Like, I'm just not going to do it, you know?
Oh, my God.
And I don't even know that you don't even fit here, you know? So I wasn't prepared. Was she already pregnant or not? I can't remember. She must have been. I can't remember. But anyways, so my friend Glow at the time, I call her Glow, but her name's Carolyn. Glow by Merlot. Shout out. She was also looking for a bigger spot. She wanted to open up suites and the whole salon. I was not even planning it. Thinking about it, was not in my agenda, was not in my plans, nothing. I just needed a bigger space for me and my daughter. Yeah. So I called Glow and I'm like, Glow, I have no heat and da-da-da. She's like, hey, I just went to go look at a place. I don't think it's going to work for me. It's right down the street from where you're at, 3-4 minutes down. Just go look at it. Double my rent, you know. But I was like, okay, well, let me go look. I went to go look and I said, man, 5 rooms, it's got potential. Like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but let me see if they can have it ready for me in a month, because my lease ends at the end of January.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Again, things have always fallen into place for me. When they're meant for me, they fall into place. And so this has been my whole, I have rebranded and rebuilt so many times from the time that I told you all about the suite. I still did a whole bunch of other stuff leading up until last year. And so it fell into place. Yes, we can have it ready for you in 30 days. Oh, yeah, can knock down this wall. Yeah, we could do that. We could do this, do this. It was already like a medical office, something. Sure, cool. And I said, God, if you make this happen in 30 days, then it's meant for me to do something with it, you know? And so, yeah, it was done. January 30th, we moved out of the other place. My family came and helped me move again this time my dad said, and my brother said, I was telling my dad, yeah, Dad, this is like my 5-year goal. And, you know, like, I don't know, maybe I'll open up a second location or go bigger. He said, Mijita, this is the last time I'm helping you. I'm too old to do this. And my brother's like, you better stay here forever because I'm not helping you no more. And he's like, and at this point, Pam, he said, we've helped you move houses and businesses and everything for 20 years now. You haven't. Yes, he said, I'm sure you make enough money to get movers, you know? And so they literally just moved my stuff from the place to the other. And then in one day, again, I've done this so many times because I'm a go-getter. I set it up and then I'm like, all right, Layla, we're ready to go. February 1st, you know, last year. It was just me and her. She was pregnant. So my granddaughter was due March 5th. Mm-hmm. March 3rd or March 5th. So a month. We were only there a month. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I had 5 suites. And so we just winged it. We had a really good month. People were just excited. And she had to go on maternity leave. I needed to hire somebody to take over because I'm not waxing no more, right? So I needed to hire somebody to take over the waxing. And so I did. And so she came on. Layla came back from maternity leave within a month. A month later, my other sister had also taken a hiatus, and she said, hey, Pam, I think I'm ready to go back to work. I said, okay, well, just come on. She came on. And then months later, my youngest sister said, hey, I also want to, you know, leave where I'm at, and I'm ready to come work also with you guys. So it just kind of happened that way. So I
that's
never
cool. Like
prepared.
A whole family.
Yes.
Family business.
But with mixing family with business and not having a plan, not being prepared, not thinking going into
because it's family. You're kind of like,
family.
Okay, come on in, come on, all of
no
y'all,
contracts,
come on.
no nothing. And I think,
yes,
you know, I think that I'm sure that's a learning experience too.
Has been a major learning experience.
You have to learn to separate family and business. And even if it doesn't mean you can't work together. It just means that even though we're family, it does not, like, I still love you. It does not remove anything.
Right.
But when we come into the business space, we're no longer family. Here are contracts. This is how it's going to work, and this is how we're going to do things.
And so I wasn't prepared with that.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. And I didn't, again, think about it that much into it because it happened so fast. Like this last year has just happened so fast, and we've grown. And my focus then I didn't even know Layla was going to come with me, my daughter, first of all. So I had a lot of plans, like for my own esthetician goals, because I still feel like I'm in the midst of it. Like Skin Experience by Pamela just was created again after I retired in 2018, 2019. I just came back to work. I just say that 5 years ago, but I was off sore. I burnt out. I retired. But then I wasn't meant for stay-at-home mom life, so I came back to work. And so Skin Experience to me is my baby, right?
Yes.
So just a year ago, right, a year and a half ago, when I opened this place, I finally it's now a brand, right? I now
had a team.
For me, this is year 2 of this new business. It's a completely new business. I had a team now. Everything, it's been a learning curve for me because I didn't have, back then when I had the other place, I had a sweets place. Yeah. So I didn't really have what I had now, which is like payroll and, getting everyone busy. I'm already having to worry about me being busy. Yeah. Now I have to worry about, 3, 4 other people. Yes. And so I just managed it somehow in the beginning last year. And so, I know because I have done master classes for so long now, like I said, I just need 3 people, and then from then I can build more, right? So I taught them that, and I taught them so much because I know I have gone through so many things in 20 years and have learned so many different ways of how to build clientele, how to keep clientele, how to, just services. My protocols are my protocols. I created those. You can never go get a skin experience signature facial anywhere but with me.
Unless somebody copies it.
Unless somebody copies it. But even then, you can copy the recipe all you want, but the sauce,
you don't know how to cook.
It's not going to taste the same.
Sauce ain't going to taste the same. I use my own skincare line with my signature facial, so you'll never get a skin experience signature facial anywhere else but with me, or with us, And so I wasn't prepared for everything that happened.
I want to have a little break.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for listening on.
Fun.
This is part 1 of our 2-part episode. Please stay tuned next week so you can listen on to part 2.